Do you have neck pain, shoulder pain, even wrist pain, or a hard time connecting with your abs? Have you ever been told that you have scapula that wings in a plank or a push-up, or notice when you're in hands and knees positions that your elbows kind of turn out to the side or hyperextend? Well, it might be time to come and look at your serratus muscle. Oftentimes, the serratus can be an underdeveloped muscle where our pec minor kind of takes over for some of his activity of reaching through. And so we need to kind of backtrack a little bit and work on inhibiting that pec minor and isolating the serratus. It lies underneath your shoulder blade here and pulls your shoulder blade onto your rib cage. It also helps pull that scapula around your rib cage, and fibers of it invest into your external obliques and can help with that core connection and rib cage mobility and position. Now, serratus strength in isolation isn't just the only thing that often needs to be addressed. A lot of time we might need to work on some chest opening and some rib cage positioning and mobility to help improve the position for the scapula to move around the rib cage and decrease resistance that the serratus is having to work against. But in this video, we're going to explore some isolated serratus strengthening. So what we're going to do first is you're going to come join me on the ground here, and you can have a towel or a pillow to put underneath your head, particularly if you find that as you're doing this exercise, you're having a lot of neck tension, or as you lay down, your ribs flare or your head kind of tips back. Don't underestimate the power of a prop. Then what we're going to do is we're going to lay down and we're going to have a band here coming across our body. So I'm going to put this band around the wrist of my left hand. What this is going to do is, since it's pulling my arm across and towards the right, I'm now going to have to pull open a little bit towards the left, making sure that that's coming from my scapular muscles here and not just my shoulder. And that's going to help then inhibit my pec minor here from working. So this is a critical component for working on the isolation of the serratus without that pec minor. Now you might have to play with that amount of tension and just kind of see what you need at this point in time to help get that pec to check out. Then what we're going to do is we're going to start without a weight. And you're going to have your thumb turned out a little bit, your palm turned out a little bit here, and your hand kind of right over your eyes. So we're looking for your arm to be about kind of 120 degrees. So thinking that 90 degrees is here, 0 degrees is down by my side. We're looking to be just above that 90 degrees. Then we're also looking for the hand typically to kind of be right over my nose or center of my face. Again, you might have to play with this arm angle or kind of pulling out or letting it come in a little bit more, depending on what we need to position to help get that pec minor to check out. Then what we're going to do here is we're going to keep this armpit angle, and you're going to reach through your armpit and pinky, visualizing how that serratus is pulling that scapula around and through, and then you're going to slowly let it relax back down. As best you can, you're trying to not pull back down, but just kind of visualize the scapula melting back and down and around your rib cage to help work on the eccentric strength of that serratus and to get that scapula in a good position to then pull forward from. If you already have rounded shoulders and are already kind of here, then you're automatically going to feel more tension in your neck because you're basically running out of room to protract and reach forward from. So we need some of that eccentric control and scapula come back and around to be in a better position to reach forward from. So we can explore that idea in some other videos, serratus videos that we have, as well as that idea of opening up the pec and some other exercises. But as we're here, again, we're just trying to focus on that range of motion back and the range of motion forward. So as I'm coming through, I'm making sure I'm not pulling down because that would be using my lat sum instead of that serratus. I'm making sure right here, my pec muscle is nice and soft and squishy. So as I'm reaching up, I can grab here and there's no tension in my chest, and then letting it slowly come back down. I'm also making sure my neck is relaxed. So I'm not coming from over top and feeling tension here, but really reaching through that armpit and pinky and then back down. So my arm stays at that same angle as it comes up and as it comes back down. You're also making sure that you're not arching to get it there, okay? So we're thinking that rib cage stays nice and steady and the movement is just happening in that scapula. Now, it may take some time to work on this rewiring of getting to isolate that serratus without your pecs and without your upper traps and neck here. But keep working away at it. Keep exploring. Keep playing with this arm position, either out to the middle, up and down, the amount of resistance that we have here, doing some release work to that pec in the front, doing some eccentric serratus work from the other videos like I was mentioning earlier. But I find that once people get it to click, then they can add weight relatively quickly. Now, adding weight might mean at first adding 1 pound at a time, and then to 2 pounds and 3 pounds, and thinking of it in terms of percentage instead of immediately jumping to a big heavy weight. But the end goal is that we really want to get to be able to do 20 pounds or so of this isolated movement. So then just hold the weight, and it would be the same idea of, okay, can I add the weight to increase the load while still keeping pec minor out of it and still thinking of that same plane and pattern of movement. Now, sometimes the serratus can be a little tricky to kind of feel the burn going. We might feel a little bit of work through here. What we don't want is down on the arm here, where that's more likely the lat. We don't want the neck. But afterwards, you might just more so notice that you have increased freedom of movement in your shoulder blade. It just kind of feels lighter and a little easier to be kind of more upright and hold yourself there. So hopefully you enjoyed some isolated exploration of strengthening your serratus. And again, working on getting into increased strength is then going to help carry over to the strength that is needed in such things like planks and push-ups and side planks.